You know what I find holds women leaders back more than anything else? When they realize there's something more that they are supposed to contribute, not only to their own lives, but to others, it's doing way too much math. I'm not talking about the math on a spreadsheet or on a profit and loss or with your KPIs. I'm talking about the math that is costing you the ability to become who you were created to be. And as you know, if you've been following me long enough, I say that menopause is the great invitation to you to become who you were exactly created to be. So today, I want to talk about the math. And sometimes the math ain't mathing because it's not supposed to math. And I want to talk to you about ways that you can remove that math and become exactly who you're created to be. This one goes out to my women leaders, especially women leaders in perimenopause, menopause. If you run an employee resource group dedicated to women leaders, this is the video for you. All right, I'll see you on the inside. So does this sound familiar? Should I wear the makeup on this video or should I wear the makeup on this video? Should I say what I really want to say or should I hold back on saying what I need to say? Should I be emotional in this moment or shouldn't I? Should I go out and run at this time or shouldn't I? Should I wear these types of clothes or shouldn't I? These are the calculations. This is the math that we as women often do when it comes to really expressing ourselves the way that we want to express ourselves. So today I want to talk about that math because sometimes these calculations that we have in our heads, they're valid. Like we have to do them in order for us to stay safe, physically safe. But often what happens is a lot of us find safety in the risk that needs to be taken for you to become. And you know how I know that? Because you feel it. Like you know it. You know that if I just do this, this could be the outcome. But you're going to have to go through some, I like to call dissonance, this uncomfortable feeling and the outcome, releasing the outcome. And I want to share why I'm starting to talk to you about this. Well, during our Rise 53 inner circle, which is the inner circle that we have created within our Rise Advocates movement, we have women come in every single Friday and we talk about these leadership topics. And one of the most amazing women, actually, they all are amazing, but one of them says, we're all doing the math. And I thought, what we were like, what math? We knew what she was talking about. And as she was kind of going deeper, we all could see it. It's these calculations, these I would call often false evidence appearing real because it is evidence, right? We do have studies. We not only have studies, we have people who we've likely seen gone through some of the issues that we decide we don't want to go through because that was their result. And these examples are very long. We have a long list of things that happen to women. We see what happens to the women. Oh, she's just an angry Black woman. Oh, that white woman, she's a Karen. Oh, she's emotional. She's constantly wearing her heart on her sleeve. This is how women react when these things happen. They're a little crazy, Don't get on their bad side. You hear all these narratives related to women because it's all around us. It bombards us in movies and depicted often in commercials, seen quite readily in corporate America, because as we are weeding out some of these bad players, I will call them, in corporate America, we hear this over and over and over again. And you hear me say, weed out. Now, here's what I want to share with you. There have been a lot of strides in helping us as women feel a sense of safety and security in our workplaces, right? So we have things like diversity, equity, inclusion. Now, granted, we've been hitting that DEI up on the side of the head, acting like it's the most horrible thing ever, what it's not. It was actually meant to make people who are different than status quo come into work environments and feel a sense of safety, right? Well, since that DEI has been blasted, we now hear a new term come on the scene. And that new term is psychological safety. Now, I want to talk to you about psychological safety for a minute because the authors of this line of psychological behavior says that we as leaders need to make a space where people feel safe. People feel welcome, they feel heard, and that is admirable and necessary to create an environment where people do feel that way. But I believe there's another aspect of that is that we, and I'm going to speak to women because I'm just going to say we, the collective, we women leaders in perimenopause and menopause. And I'm saying that because if you are over 40, you're likely in that category, is that we have to make decisions. We have to decide where we want to go and shift things because we are the shift makers. We are the one that people have been waiting on. People have been waiting on you to show up as you. Now, does that mean you're going to be safe? Can't guarantee that. We can't guarantee that you're going to be safe in saying what you're going to say. There are going to be risks that I'm asking you to take to push through some of that discomfort, to push through the narratives that keep holding you back, to push through all of the people that you think you might disappoint or get angry at you because you're using your imagination. It just happens to be fear that's gripping you, that false evidence appearing real. And so, what I want us all to do is understand that all of these terms exist. All of these signs that we see on the wall, you belong. We want you to feel included. Bring your authentic self to work. All these things that we say, you see it on the websites, you see it on the mission statements in the end of the year booklets for some of these corporate, platforms. But who's then responsible for making certain that those words actually mean something? It's you and me. It's you and me because we have to start to take the math that we've been doing in our heads and these calculations, and we got to put them aside. Because if we don't put them aside, we're going to be botched up in a long Excel spreadsheet of excuses that are not going to allow us to advance. And now, the reason why I say that menopause becomes the great invitation because it starts making you think, what the hell have I been thinking? Why do I keep doing that? Why do I keep making myself small? And you start to figure out, do you want to continue down the road of pretending as though you don't see the opportunity? I mean, because you feel it. And I say see it because see it mean in your mind. Faith is the evidence of things you cannot physically see, right? But it's something that you want it to come. So the choice is be the person that just acts like it's not there. Yet it's there because that's what causes you that sense of frustration. That's the false evidence appearing real. Or you can still have this feeling inside of your gut, like, I just don't know, but something tells me I should do it. That's when you face everything and rise. You see, the foundation of both those two paths are discomfort of staying the same or discomfort of actually removing the math and going forward. The question is, choose your hard. Choose which hard do you want? Complacency, right? Apathy, mediocrity, or do you want to have this exhilaration, these endorphins that come to your body that make you feel excited and joyful, yet also like, I don't know, but I'm really excited that I did that. People who fall into the face everything and rise, these are the individuals who typically ride in my camp. You hear me? We are the Rise Advocates movement. We're all about taking things that look insurmountable. It looks like it would be crazy for someone to do that, but we do it. Why? Because that's what the Rise Advocates movement is all about, right? We're women who we know we've had success, right? We've worked really hard. We've hustled. We've grinded. We've stayed up late. We've made certain that everything looked polished. all to the point where we're like, this don't make no sense after a while. Because if I got to do this for the next 30 years, forget about it. But I'm telling you, my sister, you don't, because you've been calculating this math and it's causing you to burn out because the math ain't mathing. You feel me? Because this math was made up. There's a better path. There's a better path for you. And this is what I'm talking about, is when we begin to realize, you start hanging around other people who have the same mindset, everybody rises. You see, the thing is I 100% believe, right, that when you start to kind of go down to the face everything and rise, and you stop calculating all these things, you have a sense of freedom about you. You start to take on things you would have never taken on in the past because you've made a decision. And I've been talking about this idea of a decision a lot in the videos I've been doing lately. In fact, if you go to my video where I talk about becoming your full-time job, I go into detail about making the decision. See, the thing is when you're mathing, like you're doing all this math in head, you're not making any decisions. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Well, let's talk about it next week. Let's put this on the agenda for next week. Isn't that like, that's insanity? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, right? That's just too much of anyone who's not making the decision, because at the end of the day, decision is Latin for cut off, right? It's to cut off, it's to determine to go a certain path. That's when you decide that I'm going to remove the math. I know there's a cost of becoming, and the cost I am willing to endure. I am willing to endure, because when you're willing to endure something, you're willing to even suffer for it. That means you have a passion for it. And yes, I'm about to Latin y'all out, because the root of passion for Latin, the Latin root of passion is to suffer and endure. So when you see people who are passionate about a subject, right, they've made decisions, and so they are cutting things off, they are going for it. And when you start living that type of life and you hang around people who live that kind of life, then you start getting things done with a sense of ease, a sense of joy, a surety, a confidence, a belief, and this understanding and knowing everything is going to work out, even if it does fail according to certain standards, even if it doesn't work exactly out, because you're not holding so tightly to the outcome. You feel me? This is what I'm telling you when you need to remove the math, right? And okay, if you're the type of person, well, I am a lawyer, I am a financial person, this is what I do because, this is what I do for a living, right? You are helping to advise companies on how to stay the safe route. Yes, I get that. But you really want to make certain that you give them all alternatives, right? Because I'm a former attorney. I understand that there's a certain wisdom, there's a certain wisdom that has to come along with, you know, these math calculations. Yeah, that's wisdom. But don't let wisdom cut off creativity. Don't let wisdom cut off the opportunity for you to become, because that becoming process is critical for your company to even grow. And I know this for a fact because innovation and ideation, which is thinking about things through, right, is at the foundation of innovation. You don't get innovation constantly doing math and calculations, right? In any scientific study, anyone knows you've got to do something to fail. And then the failure is a part of the success. Failure is always a part of success because that gives you understanding, that gives you information. Let's tweak it and go this way. Because when you're determined to become, you are willing to make the sacrifice. And guess what? People love following those types of leaders because there's this belief that we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right, right? Because that's how you grow. And I've been recently reading this book called Joy Span. And I'm just so grateful to this woman. Her name is Lynn Gaudier. Am I saying your last name right, Lynn? I don't know if I am. But anyway, she gave me this amazing book the other day by Dr. Carrie Burnite. And joy span is all about lifespan, right? Instead of just having a lifespan, have a joy span. Because there are certain people who get to a certain age and they just shut off. Yeah, this is who I am. This is what I do. And I'm just going to be, this is just the type of person I am. Take it or leave it, right? Then there are other people who decide to age and they're constantly learning. They're constantly taking on new adventures. They're constantly growing and they haven't gone stagnant because the people that have chosen just to go, this is just the way that it is, they ain't even doing any math. They ain't even making the effort to do that. They just shut off all the coffers, right? Like the whole water spout is just dry, okay? And so I don't want you to do that. I want you to have joy in your lifespan. And when you have joy basically says that even things that happened in the past and what's happening in the future is no relevance to my current presence. And in the present moment is where my joy resides, right? The joy is there in the present moment. It's in the doing. It's in the feeling like everything is amazing and wonderful. So this is what I want you to pick up. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? Okay. So my question to you is, how much math do you actually do on a daily basis? Have you ever sat down and thought about it? Like how much math are you calculating every single day? Because that's exhausting. No wonder you're so tired. And where do you find yourself doing the most calculations? Is it in a relationship? Is it with people that you are around? Is it around your family? Is it around your spouse? Is it around your coworkers? Is it by going to certain places and events? Like, oh man, do I do it like this? Is it going on video like what I'm doing right now? Right? I know because a lot of you aren't sharing your gifts and your talents because you're so scared of judgment. You just got to put all that aside and have joy in the present moment. That's why I'm able to just talk to you. I'm able to just have these kind of conversations because I know who you are. I've been studying you. So the first thing is, what are you calculating? Where do you find yourself doing the most calculations? And what's one calculation that you can begin to say away? Where can you remove from your life? Like you can just breathe through the process and say, I'm going to go for this. What is one area that you can do? I would love to hear from you and share this within our community, share it on social media. And, I know that if you're at the end of this video, you already know who I am. And if not, hey, I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Diana Patton. I'm your authentic power strategist. I'm all about authenticity. And this, by the way, is an authentic power strategy for you to be able to implement into your life, for you to be able to share with the women in your organization, for you to be able to talk about this. If you are in an organization, you're with an employee resource group, end the video and have the conversation. Talk about this and figure out how you can help one another, remove some of this math so that you can be able to do the things that you've been called to do in your organization. So let me leave you with this. I believe that all of us, there's a reason why you're being called to me, and there's a reason why I'm being called to you. There's this quote, it's called, "What you seek is seeking you," by Rumi, and Rumi, because I believe you've been seeking me and I've been seeking you. And so here's an opportunity for us. If you are interested in diving deeper into this type of work, I'm going to encourage you to take what's called our executive biology audit. Within the executive biology audit, you're going to be able to look at your metabolic activity, your nervous system regulation, your identity, and your executive presence. Why is that important? Is because I don't believe any of us are broken. I do believe a lot of us spend too much time mathing, but this executive biology audit is going to help you understand what you can remove and or add into your life to help you continue on this becoming process. It's free. and you're going to be able to get an assessment at the end. And if you are in a particular area where you want to dive deeper, then we can pick up the phone and have a conversation, you and me, or one of our coaches. All right, that sound good? Also, some of you have been following along with me. You know that I'm actually doing bodybuilding competitions. I'm getting ready to I'm on what's called the Road to the Pros. By the recording of this video, it's August 2026, and I'm going after my pro card. And I'm also writing a new book called Strength in Menopause. And we want to give you a free download PDF that you can have. I'll put the link in the notes here, and you can pick up that PDF, right? And then you can even pre-order the book. It's going to be dropping January 2026. And this just allows you to get into the ecosystem of the Rise Advocates movement, because we want to talk to you. We want to get to know you. So regardless, I just say hit the subscribe button, right? Hit the subscribe button on YouTube and or LinkedIn or anywhere that you or follow, whatever you do. Share some of this, comment, and let's continue to meet up like this. I feel like we can be friends for a long time. You hear me? All right, so here's my thought. Just stop the mathing. If you're going to do the math, then look at the math. And then if you have to, burn it. Say, we're not going to do this. We're going to do something different, right? Or pick one area that you're going to remove. All right, just make certain that you take some uncomfortable and even messy action. All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. I will definitely see you in the next video. And peace, love, and rising. All right, we'll see you next time.